Hey, so in this video we're going to be talking about the best thermal label printers for Amazon FBA. Now, if you've watched one of my previous videos about thermal versus ink printers, I'm sure you probably came to the conclusion that a thermal label printer is best for your Amazon labels. In which case, which ones are good? Let me run through that with you today. So first off, I'm going to start off by basically not recommending a certain brand to you, which is the Munbin brand. Now, if you happen to be watching this and you get on with Munbin, that is awesome. However, the reason why I don't recommend it is because lots of sellers, and I do speak to a lot of other sellers, have basically said that Munbin has major alignment issues, and I've had a look online as well, done some research into it, and it does very much seem to be the case. And if you don't want to deal with that, if you don't want to take that risk and trying to deal with that, wasting your time, wasting your labels, I would just say to avoid Munbin from the get-go. So let's move on to the brands that I do recommend. Now there's loads of thermal label printers out there. There's actually like quite a few brands for thermal label printers. I didn't realize how many brands there were. So obviously, you can use what I'm saying here as a starting point if you want to find maybe a different brand, but the recommendations that I'm going to give you in this video are pretty solid, and lots of sellers go for these brands anyway. So recommendation number one is Polono. Now Polono is one of the cheaper brands, at least they have quite a nice range of more affordable thermal printers. So I would say they're one of the cheaper ones. It gets you going. It's good for a beginner's budget. Very nice place to start. They're nice and reliable, and that's what we want. We don't want to be dealing with any sort of like alignment issues or anything like that. And Polono is a great but affordable brand. Recommendation number two is Jadens. Now I see Jadens everywhere. They are basically like the industry standard of, Amazon thermal label printers. Overall, from what I gather, the range is slightly more expensive than Polono, but it's only by a little bit. It's not by like massive amounts. It's only a little bit. Yeah, Jadens, nice and reliable. As I say, they're kind of like the industry standard. So lots of sellers go for Jadens as they are just good all-rounders. They do have quite a nice range of printers with different capabilities and so forth. So the price range there does vary, but it depends on the type of printer you've gone ahead with. But this Bluetooth printer right here, for $79.99, that's actually really good for a Bluetooth printer. I see Bluetooth printers for a whole lot more than that. So this is where I would say Jadens is pretty good for things like that. Now, if you aren't already sold on a thermal label printer, and if you're thinking ahead into the future and thinking, I want the very best of the best, maybe you want that right away, maybe you want to wait until further down the line when you've scaled your business, when you've grown, and you're kind of thinking at that point, I want to seriously upgrade, I would then recommend Rollo if you can get your hands on one. So if it's not Rollo, I would then say the higher end of Jadens is really good. But Rollo, they are sleek, they are really fast, top quality stuff, and the brand really does look after its customers well, and that's part of what you're paying for. Like it's an investment, and I would say for all of those reasons, it's well worth the money. From having a look at their website as well, if you buy one of their printers, just from what I saw at the time, I don't know if that's the case all the time, but they were throwing in a couple of freebies, like you can get a few rolls of the labels, the 4x6 labels, for free with the purchase. Again, I don't know if that's all the time, so don't quote me on that. But right now, as I had a look, that's what they said. I imagine they would have something like that a lot of the time. But yeah, like Rollo is the higher end I guess you'd call it a posh thermal label printer, but yeah, so it's either Rolo or the higher end of Jadens, and that's like your best thermal label printers. I also just wanted to remind you as well that you don't necessarily need to buy them new. Don't forget about secondhand and used, and don't let that put you off in any way, because there's absolutely no need. Lots of people that are selling the thermal label printers are actually just selling them because they've either changed the direction of their business, maybe they have outsourced their prep entirely, so they don't really need any labels anymore. Maybe it is that they have just upgraded to like the next tier up of thermal label printer, and the roll one's still in really good condition, because let's face it, you plug it in or you just have it on the side, use it for your labels. I mean, it's not getting thrown around the room. At least I hope it's not getting thrown around the room. But a lot of the secondhand ones are in really good condition, still full of life, still reliable. So don't feel like you necessarily have to go for a new one. Secondhand ones can be just as good. Obviously, just remember to do your due diligence. Just read into the condition of them and so forth, where people have added it into their descriptions. Also, at the time of recording this, we are coming up to Prime Day on Amazon, and I did notice that some of these items are actually on sale, and it looks like a few of them will end up being on sale during Prime Day anyway. So if you are watching around this time, lucky you. It's the start of July. Maybe you'll see I don't know, maybe you could get a Jaden's for like a whole lot less. I don't know, but yeah, with Prime Day just around the corner, it's actually probably now quite a good time to be getting a thermal label printer. Any sale events that are held on Amazon is probably a good time to be looking if you're thinking of upgrading or getting one for the very first time. So yeah, as I say, avoid Munbin, go for Polono, Jaden's, and if you're looking for a higher end printer, Rolo or the higher end of Jaden's are good solid options. Hopefully this has helped. I've given you some specific examples there. Hopefully it's really helped and narrowed down the sort of brands that you want to be paying attention to. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you soon.